I bought a refurbished S21 Ultra in Zimbabwe. Now, what could go wrong? A lot, actually. Zimbabwe has a refurbished phone problem. Not a problem with the refurbished phones themselves. For example, when I bought this S21 Ultra, the seller said the phone was in fact brand new, but I knew that it wasn't brand new, right? Now, what I hate is when they start charging you money for new phones when they know deep in their hearts that they're selling you a phone that was used before. Now first, let me explain what a refurbished phone is for those who do not know. Now, a refurbished phone is not a fake phone. Also, fake phones is something that you have to worry about if you're going shopping for a phone in Zimbabwe, but that's a story for another day. It's actually a used original phone. What happens is that in Western countries, they have options to trade in their old phones to get new ones for a cheaper price. They also have options to recycle their old phones. So what happens is that some of those phones are sold at auctions in bulk. Some are used for parts and some are bought by third-party companies which work with retail giants like Amazon. These refurbished phones are then supplied to Amazon through their Amazon Renewed program. Now, these type of refurbished phones tend to be better because they come with a warranty. Now, the refurbishment process itself involves technicians looking at the phone to find if there's any cosmetic damage or if there are any parts that are damaged inside the phone and replacing them. Now, if they are doing it properly, they will replace them with original parts. But in most cases, they want to make a super profit, so they end up using fake parts or parts that are made in China, which are cheaper. That's when the problem starts. For example, if the screen is broken, they may replace it with a cheaper LCD or AMOLED option, just like what happened with this S21 Ultra. After that, they find a copycat box to place the phone in, third-party cables and chargers in some instances, and a quick start guide. And just like somebody's ex, the phone is now brand new. Now, I forgot to mention that the bulk of those phones are sold to Asian countries, particularly China. Now, the refurbishment process in China is not standardized, hence the bad reputation of refurbished phones. So Zimbabwean sellers end up buying these phones from Dubai or China directly. Now, the truth is that the vast majority of phones being sold in Zimbabwe are either refurbished, used, or clones. New phones tend to make a very small percentage and are slightly more expensive. A good example is this brand new, in quotes, S21 Ultra, which I bought from a seller in Harare for $290. This phone was last produced in January 2022. Now, take note of this date. This will make sense later on. Firstly, the box is fake. On the right side is what the original box looks like. The charging cable is fake. Now, when you power on this device, you will notice that the software version is One UI 6.1. Now, remember, the S21 Ultra was last produced in January 2022. Well, One UI 6.1 was released in May 2024. So how can this phone, which was produced in January 2022, run 2024 software? But that's not enough. Currently, One UI 7 is available for S21 Ultras, but not this phone. I cannot upgrade to the latest software version. Some people have tried forcing this update and ended up breaking their phones. Now, running the IMEI number on this phone reveals that this phone was in fact used on the Verizon network in the USA. Now, let's talk about the phone. How has it been like using this phone? Well, using a refurbished phone or buying one is more like playing Russian roulette. Sometimes you can actually get a pretty good deal, but most times you get the bullet. Sadly, this particular S21 Ultra wasn't a good deal. Firstly, the screen was replaced. If you look at the bottom bezel, you can see that it is slightly bigger. The battery is poor. I'll be lucky if I get 5 hours of screen time. The phone stays on the charger most times, hence the abnormal battery percentages. The ambient light sensor does not work. The phone overheats a lot even when doing basic tasks, just like downloading apps or something. Even worse when you start playing games. But funny enough, in terms of performance, the phone still holds up pretty well. Playing PUBG or Call of Duty on the S21 Ultra is still a breeze, even at the highest quality settings. It's still a flagship phone after all. The only thing that still works properly on this phone are the cameras. The main camera is still able to shoot good photos at an insane 108 megapixels. The photos are obviously pretty sharp and colorful. You can also record videos up to 8K 24 FPS. The front-facing camera shoots photos at 40 megapixels and 4K 60 FPS videos, which is decent. Now, despite the negatives, this is still a pretty good phone. Now, would I encourage you to buy a refurbished phone? Well, this is not for the faint of heart, right? But if you're dealing with a seller who's selling refurbished phones and they tell you that this is refurbished at a good price, you can get yourself a good deal. But like I said, it's like Russian roulette. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, right? For me, I would say it's actually better to get a refurbished phone which was a flagship than a new mid-range phone, because these phones are built to last. You know, they have good quality materials, especially if they don't change them. You know, they don't put fake parts in there. You actually get yourself a pretty good deal, right? Now, sellers, please be honest with people. Don't try to scam people. Just let them know that this phone is refurbished. And I'm sure with the budgets of many people in Zimbabwe, they can just afford refurbished anyway, because how many people are willing to fork out maybe $1,000 to get a brand new S21 or S24 Ultra? Very few people can afford that, right? But if you have the cash, if you have that $1,000, I would actually tell you go buy a new phone and avoid problems. And anyway, those are my thoughts on refurbished phones. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.